Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's time to eat. Okay, so today I got me a little foot-long sub from, well, not little, because it is a foot-long, right? I got a foot-long sub from Publix. They make the best sandwiches. Check it out. Look. It's an ultimate sub. So this ultimate sub has roast beef, turkey, and I believe a little bit of ham on here. I've got lettuce, tomato, black olives, oregano, salt and pepper, a little bit of vinegar, mayo, and they seasoned it just right. All right, let me bless my food real quick. All right, so let's get into it. So today, I wanted to talk about how I actually got into adult entertainment as a dancer in strip clubs in Atlanta. So, hold on. I'm not dancing currently. I have retired. I retired a little bit over a year ago. And I do get the question a lot from people that don't really know me about how I got started in the business. So I danced for a really long time in Atlanta. I also worked in Miami. I traveled. I was booked overseas. Like, I did tours. I did a lot of different stuff. My dancing career was definitely very interesting. And I can say that I had a lot of opportunities and things fall into my lap that I probably would not have otherwise had if it wasn't for the strip club. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about how I actually got started, right? So, this is a lot of bread on here. This is good. I love when they season this right. So, anyway. It was my first year in college. And anyway, so it was my first year in college. And I had my first little car. You know, I was staying in student housing. Wait, was I staying in student housing? Was I? No, I wasn't staying in student housing at the time. I was not staying in student housing at the time, actually, now that I think about it. But I was in school. So, I had my first little car. And the guy that I was dating, his sister worked at like a Jiffy Lube or a Pet Boys or something like that. I don't remember which one it was, but it was a place like that where they worked on cars. Anyway, so I needed an oil change for my car, right? So I called them up. I was like, hey, can your sister hook me up with an oil change? They were like, yeah, bring the car down here. So, you know, I hop on down there, bring the car, get an oil change. And later on that night, I'm driving home. Excuse me. Later on that night, I'm driving home. And all of a sudden, the light starts flickering on my dashboard. Like the oil light starts flickering. The car starts shaking. And it starts making this loud noise. So I pull over and stop the car. Anyway, to make a long story short, what happened was apparently they put the wrong size oil filter on my car. And it popped off on the highway. And all the oil leaked out of the car, and my engine locked up. Now, at the time, initially, I didn't know how serious this was. This was my first car, right? And I didn't know what was going on. I was oblivious. I didn't know how much stuff cost. I didn't know. This is my first car, right? So I was pulled over at like a gas station. Actually, I want to say it was a Quick Trip. Was it a Quick Trip? I don't know. Anyway, I was pulled over at the gas station. And I called my mom and I was like, hey, the car is like acting weird. And then when I tried to start it back up again, it wouldn't start, of course, right? So my mom came and picked me up, and then we had the car towed to where we were living, our apartment complex at the time. And you know, I'm still completely oblivious to what's going on. She's freaking out. She's like, what happened? What did you do? I'm like, I got an oil change earlier today. And she was like, did they put any oil in it? Like, what's happening? What's going on? She's freaking out. I'm like, not knowing what the hell is going on. I'm like, why are you freaking out? Like, well, it's not that serious. But it really was that serious, come to find out. Anyway, so she had the car towed over to like a friend or somebody she knows that was a mechanic. They came back and was like, oh, yeah, you gotta replace the engine. I didn't know what that meant at the time. I'm like, okay, so how much is that? I'm like, oh, it's gonna be about $4,000. I was like, what? No, this was not no big expensive car. It was a very cheap car that I had at the time. It was like a little Mitsubishi something or other. Anyway, so this shit is crazy. So I'm like, $4,000. So I was like thinking to myself, how the hell am I gonna pay $4,000? And I wasn't making that much money at the time. I was working in the mall. I had a mall job. I was working in, you know, in retail. So I think I was at Macy's or something at the time. Anyway, I'm like, how the hell am I gonna pay $4,000 for an engine for a car? So I'm thinking to myself, man, oh well, forget that car. I guess I'm out of it. My mother was like, oh no, you're not doing that. And she was like, and you're still responsible for the car note. And I was like, what? I still gotta pay the car note? Like, I was oblivious. I didn't know. I'm like, so you telling me this engine don't work on this car and I still gotta pay the car note? Now, let me rewind. She did spaz out, and she had every right to. She spazzed out because she had co-signed with me for that car, right? My car payment wasn't nothing but like probably $200 at the time. Like I said, it was a little cheapy little car. It wasn't nothing crazy, but she had co-signed with me for it. And so if I would have not paid it, of course, we all know that would have jacked her credit up. But one thing I thank my mom for instilling in me was the importance of good credit, and she was not about to let me not pay for that car. So anyway, back to the story. I'm freaking out, right, to my brain, like, oh my God, how am I pay for this? Because she damn sure was not about to pay for it. And I'm like, how am I gonna pay this? How am I gonna pay this? So a friend of mine, a guy that I knew from school, was like, shit, maybe you need to think about dancing or something. And I was like, what? Now, my little mind at the time was like, I would never do something like that. Like, no way. Prior to this incident. And I was like, you really think I should? You really think I can do it? Like, you really think it'll work for me? And he was like, hell yeah. He was like, Dill, love you. I was like, for real? like, yeah. He's like, come on, let's go check out some clubs so you can see how it goes. So I was like, really hesitant at first. Had talked to like a couple of guys that I knew. I was like, what do you think? And they're like, you need to get that money, get your car fixed. Gotta be a way to do it. So I was like, okay. So I went to a couple of strip clubs and checked them out or whatever. And the first club I went to, well, not the first club I went to, the first club I got hired at, I went in there and I'm looking around and I'm seeing a bunch of girls that didn't look like much of nothing, but they all had like these big wads of money and like they just all had like a lot of money on them walking around. And I was like, she looked like that? And she got all that money? Light bulb. I'm like, man, this chick, excuse me, over here looked like she just gave birth. And there's another chick over here that looked half dead. I don't know if she was on drugs or whatever the case may be, but I'm like, these chicks, I'm like, they didn't even look like much, but they had hella money. And I'm like, if she could do it, I could do it. Man, listen, them folks hired me. And I came back. When I tell you I couldn't take my clothes off quick enough, and that's no lie. So I'm looking around, I'm like, that chick getting paid? Okay. Like I said, I could not get my clothes off quick enough. Now keep in mind, of course, my family, my mother, nobody knew other than, like I said, the people closest to me, like my best friend and my dude. Nobody knew that I was dancing. So I really could only work on Friday and Saturday nights because I could just play it off to my mom like I was going out with my friends. So that's what I was doing. And then also I didn't want to come in the house super quick with all of this money and have her like, where you getting this money from? So for the first couple of weekends, you know, I played it off like I was going out with friends on the weekend because I still had my day job at Macy's. I still was working there. And I was actually putting in extra hours there as well. So I had, you know, money working on both ends. And then, like, I think after a couple of weeks, you know, I couldn't keep saying I was going out every weekend because that was never really my thing anyway. So I told her that I got a job waitressing at one of the popular nightclubs. So I ran with that. And I think I got my car fixed in like a couple of weeks. Because like I said, I couldn't just boom run home in like 2 weeks and be like, here go the money. I couldn't do that. I had to wait. I had to wait it out because I did not want to have to explain me stripping. But anyway, but she didn't find out until that I was dancing until probably maybe 2 years later, because shortly after I got the car fixed, I moved into student housing. And then when I finished school, I got my own place, and I was always in my own place, so, you know, I could move how I wanted to move. But yeah, that's the quick version of how I got started working in Atlanta strip clubs. It's been a journey, I can't lie. I've seen so many things. But it was definitely good to me, that I can say. it has allowed me to do a lot of things, and I learned a lot. And every stripper story isn't like a sad sob, depressed, oh woe is me story. It's not. Stripping provided a lot for me, and it provided me with a lot of freedom, and it gave me a lot of confidence, and it taught me how to deal with people, how to interact with people. And it also helped me learn about a lot about sales, but we'll get into that in another video.